Now, what we're gonna
Sorry. Thought I was doing something wrong. So let's rename. Pre. Okay. Okay. Then what we do? What do we do next? Create a new PVAT folder. Drag the food into it. Uh, okay. Um, and choose original prefab in player controller. Player. Um, um, player. Where's player control? Oh, good lord, what have I done? I moved things around and now I'm. Uh oh. Oh boy, what have I done? Why can't I find the scripts? Oh god. Why don't you look in the big folder that says scripts, you dumb. Okay, here we go. Alright. Alright. Now let's put in the code. Okay, new float. Uh, Sorry, let me bring the screen back up. Alright, so in player controller, we need a new game object. Got it.
tab.
Okay. Oops. Okay. So make it public. Okay. And paired. Okay, so click paired hierarchy and drag it where? Drag the object from your prefab folders into the projectile prefab box. Oops, Lord. Click clear. Food steak. Okay. Into the prefab projectile prefab folder. Try to try dragging the project. No, I'm not doing it. All right, we'll see if it works. Did I save? You did. And we'll save here. Boop. All right. We are moved that one. Now let's. All right. We're moving on. Test the space bar press. Now that we have a projectile prefab assigned to the player controlled CS, the player needs a way to launch it with the space bar. Let's find out how. All right.
So what we're going to do is we need to figure out a way where whenever the player presses a button, very similar to how they press the left or right arrow keys, they move back and forth. Whenever they press a button, they will spawn their own pizza because we can't just be magically dragging on pizzas if our player's playing the game. It doesn't really work like that. And if 10 people are playing the game, there's only one of you. Just never going to happen. If we go into our code, now in our IDE, we're actually going to create more logic. So we're going to create another if statement. So if you remember, we used our input manager to actually know when somebody's pressed the left or right key using our get axis. Now, another way that we can actually get input is if we go to our condition and we type in input for our input manager, so that way it knows whenever the player is using a controller or their keyboard, and we press dot. Now there's all of these functions that we can use, like get button up, get button down, useful if you have a controller, the get axis that we used before to see whenever the axis changes, and specifically there are these series of functions called get key down, get key up. And so these are all related to your keyboard keys. So if you get key, it gets whenever the key is pressed. Whenever you use get key down, it's whenever the key is pressed down specifically, and key up is whenever you actually let go of that key, it will do that thing. So in our case, we'll do get key down, so that way it's really instant. So whenever the player presses that key once, it'll fire off one of our projectiles. And what we're going to do is we have some different parameters that we can actually put into this method. So we have key code key, not really sure what that means yet, or we have a string name. Now, the problem is if I want to use the space bar, I don't really know if the string that I want to use is space or if it's space bar. I'm not entirely sure. I haven't really memorized that. So, a really easy way that we can do this is something that Unity and C# already do, which is super convenient. So we're actually going to get our key code. Now, key code basically is mapped to any key on your keyboard. You can actually see in the description, it says these directly map to a physical key on the keyboard. Super helpful. So what we'll actually do is we'll type in key code, and then we need a dot so that we can find all of the different keys that are underneath key code. And you can see there's a lot of keys that we can press. There's the backspace, there's backslash, there's the letter D, there's an equal sign. So in my case, I actually just want the space bar. So you can see all the way down at S, there's actually the space key, which is really convenient. So now if we close off this parentheses, that way this is all confined within this input method. And then we're just going to add a comment for now in our if statement using the 2 forward slashes. As a to-do for later, we'll launch a projectile from the player. And then we'll save that. So what you're going to do is in your player controller script, you're going to add an if statement so that you can get the space bar whenever it's pressed down. And then you're going to add a comment saying that we'll launch a projectile from the player so then we can add it in later. Now it's your turn.
Okay, let's do it. All right, just one line of code does so much. Yeah, I love that all these presets are here. It really helps with like uh, newer um, programmers who are just trying to look into just making their projects work, and it takes so much pressure and uh, memorization out of it. Like you just have to just know these bindings. So I believe we are still in our player controller, and we are adding this new thing, this new statement to our update. Wow, we already have so many. All right. So let's keep it going. So let's add a note. Oops. Space. Um, a projectile from a player. Okay. And let's do the if statement. So if parentheses input. What are you doing? How dare you? Why? Why are you doing this? Stop it! What is happening? Why are you? Yes, thank you. Fucking Unity. All right. And yeah, if statements don't need the thingy, boom boom for some reason. I guess that's fine. Mhm. Let me double check something, make sure it's correct. Oh, I see. I get it. But okay. So code's gonna go in there. Got it. I still prefer the note outside of the position. So save, bring back Unity, and there's really nothing to test yet. So let's bring this back. Mark it as complete. See my little lovely green check. Okay, now